Ever think about this one? What festival involves a sacrifice, a story of faith, and unites millions globally?
I'm Leah, and I'm honestly excited about this one. It's close to the heart of how communities show care and hospitality.
I'm Garrett, curious and ready to dig in. Laid back learning with Leah and Garrett. Let's keep it chill and thoughtful today.
Topic on the table today. Picture this. I got invited to an Eid al-Adha celebration a few years back by a coworker whose family is from Pakistan. I was like, a little unsure about the customs, what to wear, how greetings worked. I showed up in modest, bright clothes and asked a million questions, and they were so kind about it.
What stood out first?
The prayer. They went to a big open-air space called an Eidgah, which is basically a field set aside for the large Eid prayer. I learned the Eid prayer happens after sunrise and before the midday prayer called Zuhr. There were these rhythmic chants called takbir. The phrase Allahu Akbar, God is the greatest. It created this gentle, happy drumbeat in the background.
That atmosphere is everything. Then it turns social, right?
Totally. Afterward, there were hugs, Eid Mubarak greetings, and so many sweets. They had mamoul, which are these filled semolina cookies, and savory bites, too. They explain that sharing food, including meat from the festival's sacrifice, carries this strong theme of generosity. I remember thinking, this is hospitality as a living tradition, not just a word.
All right, let's set the stage for this one. Eid al-Adha is one of the two main Islamic festivals, alongside Eid al-Fitr. It lands on the 10th day of Dhul Hijjah, which is the last month of the Islamic lunar calendar. Then it keeps going for 3 more days called the Tashriq days. So it's not just one morning, it's a whole extended season.
And it's deeply tied to Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca that Muslims who are able try to do once in their lives. The meaning centers on the Abrahamic story of readiness to sacrifice and trust in God. It's faith, devotion, and mercy braided together. In plain terms, it honors a moment when someone put everything on the line for what they believed was right.
Communally, think of it like a massive morning gathering that feels part family reunion, part neighborhood block party, and part spiritual retreat. People dress in their best, pray in big congregations, usually in a mosque or that open field Eidgah, listen to a short sermon called a khutbah, then head home for meals. It's like Thanksgiving energy meets a sunrise service, with a strong spirit of charity.
Let's unpack the origin story. Abraham, known as Ibrahim in Arabic, is a prophet revered in Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. The festival commemorates when he was tested to sacrifice his son, and the son was willing to submit to God's will. In the Islamic telling, the Quran in Surah As-Safat mentions the event, but doesn't actually name the son explicitly.
Right, and across traditions, this moment is about obedience and trust. In Islam, most interpretations say the son was Ishmael, or Ismail in Arabic. In the Bible's Genesis 22 account, it's Isaac. Same family, different emphasis, same core lesson about faith and the mercy that follows.
Angel Gabriel, called Jibril in Arabic, appears in many tellings as the messenger who brings a ram to substitute for the child. That substitution is the hinge. It transforms a terrifying test into a symbol of compassion. The act shifts from taking life to honoring life with a permissible sacrifice instead.
And that's why pilgrims during Hajj reenact parts of the story. They spend time at Mount Arafat on the day before Eid for a major rite, and on Eid day and after they perform the stoning of pillars that represent Satan's attempts to sway Abraham. It's a physical reminder to reject temptation. Pebbles meet pillars, like a tangible no thanks to bad decisions.
Why the physicality, though? Why throw pebbles instead of just, thinking about it?
Good question. Ritual gives the lesson muscle memory. In Hajj, you're not just reflecting, you're walking, circling the Kaaba in Tawaf, which is the ceremonial walk around the sacred cube, doing sa'i between Safa and Marwa, and stoning those pillars. It's devotion that your body remembers, not just your mind.
So the early roots are faith, submission, and mercy. The festival distills that into shared prayer, a sermon that talks about devotion and charity, and then a wave of visiting family and neighbors. It's like the story radiates out into daily kindness.
And then we get to the ritual of animal sacrifice, called udhiya or korban. Quick definitions. Udhiya is the Arabic term tied to the root that means to slaughter for sacrifice. Korban comes from a root about drawing near or closeness, so it literally hints at getting spiritually closer to God. Two words that capture both the act and the intention.
Here's something fascinating. The specific Arabic root for slaughter in that ritual sense doesn't appear in the Quran with that exact meaning, but it's well documented in hadith, the sayings and actions of the Prophet Muhammad. So practice comes from scripture plus prophetic tradition, like two pillars holding up the same archway.
Eligible animals are halal livestock like sheep, goats, rams, and camels. They need to meet quality and age standards, so it's not random. Then comes the famous three-way split of the meat, one part for your household, one for relatives and friends, and one for those in need. It's charity embedded in a tradition. That hits different.
Why that exact split, though? Why not like all to the poor or half and half?
I think the design balances care. Your family shares in the blessing, your community bonds over giving and receiving, and the poor are guaranteed a full portion. It normalizes generosity as something you do together, not just donate from afar. Institutionalized care, built right into the meal plan.
And scholars do discuss whether the sacrifice is obligatory or strongly recommended. Some, like al-Kasani, a medieval jurist, framed it as wajib, meaning required. Others said it's a sunnah mu'akkada, an emphasized practice, and some allow alternatives like giving charity or fasting when sacrificing isn't feasible. The thread that runs through every view is intent and care for others.
Zooming out, the scale can be huge. Bangladesh, for example, sets up temporary cattle markets called Haat from the first day of Dhul-Hijjah. We're talking millions of animals, and they often decorate them with garlands. It's part economy, part celebration, and part logistics puzzle. That's a curveball for city traffic, not gonna lie.
And all of that funnels back to the festival's core value. Every Muslim should have the chance to eat meat during this time. The distribution reaches people who might not get that treat often. It's dignity by dinner plate, you could say.
Now the global rhythm. Because the Islamic calendar is lunar and about 11 days shorter than the solar Gregorian calendar, the date of al-Adha shifts each year, so it moves through seasons. One decade it's in summer heat, later it lands in winter chill. Travel and cooking styles adapt along with it.
And here's a twist. Different regions begin lunar months by local moon sightings, not an international dateline. That means the same Islamic date can correspond to different Gregorian days around the world. Neighboring countries, even neighboring cities sometimes, celebrate on different dates. It's very local and very global at the same time.
Saudi Arabia's Supreme Judicial Council announces the official Hajj and Eid dates based on reported sightings. Critics sometimes argue those calls look close to a pre-calculated calendar known as al-Qura, which is meant mainly for planning. Authorities maintain they finalize by sighting. Either way, those announcements set the pace for pilgrims on the ground.
On the morning of Eid itself, prayers happen after sunrise and before Zuhr. If something big disrupts things like severe weather or emergencies, many scholars allow the prayer to be held the next day, or even the day after. That flexibility protects community safety while keeping the prayer special to the festival window.
Then comes the khutbah, the sermon, where themes of devotion, sacrifice, and charity are highlighted. After that, it's greetings, visits, and food. In the Middle East, sweets like ma'mul take center stage. Across Africa, gift exchanges and feasts. In South Asia, you'll hear names like al-Adha and see henna designs everywhere. Same heart, different flavors.
Even the name shifts. Turkish speakers say Kurban Bayrama. In parts of Southeast Asia, you'll hear Hari Raya Haji. In Bangladesh, Korbanir Eid. The words change with history and language, but the rites and values align remarkably closely.
All right, let's roll on to a question that's continued for centuries. Which son was to be sacrificed? In Islamic tradition, most say Ishmael. In the Bible, it's Isaac. The Quran's passage doesn't name him. The Genesis account names Isaac. Two lenses on one moment of radical trust.
From the Islamic perspective, the emphasis on Ishmael connects directly to lineage and to the Hajj rituals that recall that family's story in Mecca. The message is still the same at its core. submission, mercy, and the turning point where a ram substitutes for a human life. It's about intention and the heart more than the name in the footnote.
From the biblical side, focusing on Isaac situates the test within that particular covenant line. For Jews and Christians, the Akedah, or binding of Isaac, carries deep theological resonance. The meaning is heavy in both traditions. Obedience up to the brink, then mercy interrupts.
Why does the identity matter so much? Is it lineage, geography, or how the story threads into later practices?
All of the above, I think. It shapes art, sermons, and community memory. But the shared heartbeat is that both sons, Ishmael and Isaac, are honored in different ways. Some narratives even call each one the sacrifice of God as a title of honor. That suggests the lesson is bigger than the debate.
Real talk, I appreciate that the Quran leaves the son unnamed. It keeps the spotlight on the values, trust, surrender, and compassion when the ram appears. It invites us to see ourselves in the story rather than just picking teams.
And I'm down for that. For me, seeing how communities live the lesson is what lands. The shared meal, the charity, the public prayer in an Eidgah, the takbir that fills the air. Whether someone says Ishmael or Isaac, the follow-through in practice is remarkably aligned.
Speaking of practice, here's the pop culture angle that makes me smile. In Pakistan, kids receive 80 little envelopes of money or gifts from elders. Women often apply intricate henna, those temporary plant-based designs on hands. It shows up in TV dramas, music videos, and a million cheerful photos every year.
Yeah, that checks out. Those visuals carry the festival far beyond any one home. It's culture you can see and almost taste, and it keeps traditions like generosity and celebration fresh in the public imagination. Here's a thought I've been turning over. What if Islamic lunar months were globally fixed to a single astronomical calculation rather than local moon sightings? Would Eid al-Adha land on the same Gregorian day everywhere every year, like a universal appointment on the calendar?
It would be a game changer. Imagine synchronized celebrations across continents, simpler travel planning, airlines building schedules around a known global date, news outlets doing unified coverage. Hajj logistics might get even tighter, with pilgrims and families planning far in advance with more certainty.
But then there's the texture we might lose. Local sighting ties people to the sky over their own city. It's observational, embodied. There's a community excitement the evening before, scanning the horizon. Switching to a universal calculation could flatten that into a spreadsheet certainty. Efficient, but maybe less wonder.
A middle path might look like what some already do. Use a pre-calculated guide, like the al-Qura calendar, for planning, while still confirming by sighting, or a globally agreed calculation that communities adopt together by consensus. The upside is unity. The trade-off is stepping away from the historic practice of looking for the new crescent.
Either way, that what if shows how timekeeping isn't just math, it's culture and devotion. The same question reverberates through debates about the Saudi announcements and local councils elsewhere. Not gonna lie, I love that the calendar itself can spark such thoughtful conversations.
So here's where we land. Curiosity, charity, and community are the through lines. I'm carrying that with me.
Same here. Stay curious, keep learning off the beaten path, and celebrate the different ways people build generosity into their lives.